right, I'm going to share an event with you guys, and then I'm going to get out of here. I got to go get with some players. So, share with you. Well, hopefully not take long, and then get out of here. But after we played 2 weeks ago today, I was in the ICU and was sitting there in a bed, and we had just got done playing Northern Iowa. And after the game, I realized like something's not right. Like there's something physically wrong. It happened as soon as the game was over at UNI. High fiving the guys as they're coming in, and it almost feels like my chest has got like a skeletal fracture. And just, it's really, really hard to breathe. I have to go do the interview with Bob and Mike, and they're about 100 yards away, and I just really, really struggled to get there. Did not know if I was going to be able to get back. Turned around and walked back, sit down in the coach's locker room, and just kind of just sunk there in that chair. And sit there, Ryan Hillard, who some of you may know, just did a phenomenal job of getting everybody organized. We were in the middle of a winter storm, and we did not know if we were going to be able to get back that night. But get on the bus. It's a problem getting on a bus. Like I really can't walk. And then get to the bus. We land. Plane leaves at 11:25. We land at 1. Call my wife. Said I need to go to the hospital. Something's wrong. And get to the hospital. It's around 2 o'clock in the morning. 2:30. I get sent back. They immediately do an EKG on me and say there's some abnormalities here. We're not sure. We're calling a cardiac team. We need to admit you overnight. And that was the last thing I remember. Fainted. And then next thing I remember was waking up in a room having cardiac surgery. And you go on and through that process, and you say, hey, like, why are you telling us this story? Like what's the purpose of it? I will tell you that Christmas it's a wonderful occasion, right? The whole world shuts down. And as the world shuts down, everybody gets to be with people that they love. For a billion people, several couple of billion people, it's a sacred holiday, right? Christmas is this celebration of a new life. And this new life that happens is referenced as the Matthew writes, Emmanuel. Every religion is that we know of is a human who claims to be God. They have divine revelation. They know. I lived during the David Koresh thing during Waco, Texas, where a guy claimed to be God. This is the only religion where a God becomes human. Matthew writes that you're going to refer to him as Emmanuel, which means God is coming to us. And this new life is providing new life. And that's what I feel like I have. Not in a spiritual sense. I'm 100% content and at peace where I'm at spiritually, but physically feel like I have new life. Christmas is also not only a sacred holiday, but it's a solemn holiday. There are people who are at the table who are not there who you anticipated being there. There's a person there. There may be people there. And, I was in a really, really fortunate situation. When we turned around, Kevin and I talked the day before when we were under the winter storm advisory. We did not know if we should we play this game at 7. This storm's supposed to hit somewhere around 6. We talked about 3. We realized, he said, it's clear as a day. You're from Texas. They have all the tools here in order to be handled an event like this. And we, after the game, had originally scheduled to get on a bus and come back. Had we got on that bus and come back, I likely, on account of the event, I would have likely have died. We were going to go to the hotel and be at the hotel. I was super fatigued after the game, and Ryan said, what do you want to do? And I said, hey, is a hotel still an option? If I'd have been in that hotel room when I'd have fainted, my family this is a sad event. We were on the plane. The only reason that we were getting out of Waterloo, Iowa that day is because a plane that got delayed was scheduled to come in at 11:30. They were not going to clear the runway for our little 30-seat passenger plane. But because a plane was coming in from Chicago, they said, you guys can get out at 11:25. If there was that, we didn't have security there on account of the winter storm. If we'd had security, this is probably a different outcome. I was going to go home, and I just said, you know what, this is heartburn. This is something, I'm not sure what it is. And I'd have slept in my guest bedroom, which I do after games, and my wife would have found me the following morning. When I called her and I told her I was going to go to the little hospital, she said, do not go to that one. She said, they do not have the things that you need. Go downtown to Wesley. And I say all of that, that by the grace of God, there were a series of events that if there is a 30-minute detour of something happening, this is a solemn, Christmas is a solemn event for our family. And I was talking to my cardiologist earlier this week, and he says, whenever you have an event like yours and you need an emergency procedure, he said the death rate is, your mortality rate is 50% if you do not get treated within the first hour. So if you ever have a heart issue, you want to be at a hospital with a cardiac team that already has the cardiac team on the way. So when you have your event 5 minutes later, you're in there. Here's why the bigger reason that I tell you this story is I just work. I would go get physicals. I knew that things from a, come to find out from a cholesterol perspective, that is 80% hereditary, and didn't realize it. I don't drink. I don't smoke. And when I say don't drink, I don't drink a drop. Not holidays, nothing. I don't smoke. I run 12 miles run. I go 12 miles every Saturday, 2 miles walk, 4 miles run, and then come back the other 6. I don't take medication. I don't do anything. But I knew that I would ignore these physicals, and I almost ignored all this pain that was happening in my chest. And again, by the grace of God, I didn't ignore any of it and addressed it. But I would tell you, you young guys, young ladies like Chance, Owen, don't skip those things, man. When those things come up, like I just really encourage, if there's somebody who hears this, I really encourage you to do this. Now, I'll tell you the other thing that my cardiologist, I had a team of them here last Saturday when we played DePaul. Don't know if you noticed, but I was sitting down. They told me that I could not stand. I didn't even wear the same equipment as the rest of the staff because I had all these monitor devices on me. And they said, hey, we're fine, other than Chance, all of a sudden, when you go 13 of 28 for the free throw, they started to pull me out. They said, your heart rate is getting too high on account of all of these missed free throws. And he came over and kind of nudged me. But I wouldn't advise doing that if you get out of ICU on a Wednesday, coaching on a Saturday. But I had a number of people. I was going to show up for these players. We told them Friday. One day after we win a national championship here, I will put the pictures in the book. But my right coronary artery was 100% clogged, and it had not received any blood for 6 hours. And they told my wife after they went in and put in multiple stents in order to allow blood flow, they said, we are not sure about his quality of life. They brought in a chaplain after the surgery to my wife, and so you can imagine what she was thinking to the chaplain and the cardiologist. And blood flow is 60 is ideal, or is premium. 55 to 60 is ideal, and I was a 58. And because the event happened where I was there, I'm turned out that there is zero. I actually feel better. It's as if you have a shower with very little water pressure, and all of a sudden somebody comes in and remodels, and they put 3 extra shower heads in, and they turn up the shower head. Like I feel as good as I've ever felt simply because there's blood flow. And I had zero idea that I had 100% blockage in my right coronary artery. And all of this, people have asked, like, what can you give us the medical name of what's occurring? And the truth is, I can't. I can't pronounce it. I really don't know. But I kind of look at this as the same way as I do our players. They'll ask, hey, what position do I play? And I'm like, there's 2 positions, guys. There's on the court and there's off of it. This is what I think of my condition. There's 2 conditions. There's death and there's life. And I have life, and that I'm grateful for. And it's one of those things where you and I We get so busy with our lives that we got a tendency to ignore the people that we have responsibilities to. And I would tell you, pursue life, man, and do it with force. Do not skip those physicals. I'm fortunate, I'm extremely blessed, and I'm grateful. So I say all of that to say happy holidays and Merry Christmas.